Now, the emergence of Professor Nentawe Yilwatda as the national chairman of All Progressives Congress has forced the National Executive Committee, NEC, of the party to reshuffle some positions within the National Working Committee. Now, to this end, the position of the national chairman has been zoned back from the northwest to the north-central geopolitical zone, while the office of the national legal advisor has been zoned from north-central to the northwest. The ruling party also extended the tenure of Office of the Ward, Local Government, State and Zonal Executive Committees. Speaking, the chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum and the governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma, said there was a need to collectively condemn the divisive and irresponsible conduct of some elements who claimed to be opposition, whose actions did not reflect the spirit of statesmanship, patriotism, or national unity. However, he said as progressives, they must remain focused, united, and responsive to the yearnings of the Nigerian people who have placed their hope in the ruling party. Across the floor in the People's Democratic Party, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Bala Mohammed, has said only a transparent national convention of the party would be the game changer for the turnaround of the party. This came as the acting national chairman, Ambassador Umar Damagum, claimed that some members of the party who initially joined the African Democratic Congress, ADC, have started coming back to the party. Well, for a comprehensive analysis on these stories, we're joined by Arise Director of News and Politics Editor, Sumner Sambo. Sumner, good morning. It's always a pleasure to connect with you.
Thank you so much, Vimbai, and good morning to all of you and our viewers.
All right, well, let's take it from the very top. Your broad analysis of these developments within the PDP, the APC, commentary going towards the ADC as well. What does this all mean for our current political dynamics?
Well, the main thing here is that the internal democracy within political parties is becoming the major focus ahead of the 2027 general election. So there's a whole lot of housekeeping being done by Nigeria's major political parties. And of course, that wouldn't have happened if there was no threat from what looks like a third major force that's in the offing at the moment. That's the African Democratic Congress, ADC. So the two biggest political parties in the country are being given a big shot of injection by the coming of this alliance party, as I like to call it. And of course, the other third leg of the political divide is the Labour Party, which hasn't really woken up so much like the way other Nigerians would have expected. But you can see that both the governing party, the APC, and the PDP holding their NEC meetings on the same day, coincidentally, actually sends a very strong message that 2027 is actually not a walkover like we would have had maybe like in 2019 or maybe even in 2003 that, we had an incumbent going for a run. And so with the appointment of a new national chairman for the governing All Progressives Congress comes a whole lot of, floodgates of questions and then, of course, calculations, including miscalculations being made. But starting from the governing party, the appointment of Nentawe Yilwatda seems to be a very good choice that has ticked all the boxes. But it has its own downsides, actually, because here we have someone who actually lost his home state as Director General of the Tinubu Shettima Campaign Council in Plateau State in 2023, being appointed as the national chairman of the party. But if you look at other calculations, you understand that the president actually made a good choice too, because Nentawe is actually coming from a state that is not being led by the APC. So normally when you have a state chairman, a national chairman coming from a state where they already have a governor, there's always that bickering that goes on there. And that's why you would have seen that Ganduje was brought from Kano State, and Kano State is being controlled by the NNPP. So that is another plus for the president. And then the president, of all things, wanted someone from, the insiders have been speaking with, someone who doesn't have any corruption baggage. Because when Ganduje was brought in August 2023, the major challenge, in fact, that same day, Debo Ologunagba, the PDP National Publicity Secretary, laughed at the APC by sending out a statement clearly that Ganduje was ethically challenged. And so if you have someone being brought in that's ethically challenged with all the corruption allegations, then of course your next choice would have to be someone who doesn't sit within that prism. And so the idea was to bring someone who is different. And then, of all things, President Tinubu seems to be calculating is someone who is very loyal. Now, you understand that when it comes to the game of choosing a national chairman, we've always had former governors being in charge, right from the days of Chief Bababisi Akonde, who was the acting national chairman of the APC at inception, and then down to Oyegun, to Oshomole, to the likes of Abdullahi Adamu, and then, of course, Memala Buni, a serving governor, and then, of course, the other ones, apart from maybe Dalori, who was just acting just for a few moments. The idea has always been to bring former governors who have the political strength and all of that. But this time around, he's bringing someone who is very loyal to him. So I think that President Tinubu puts loyalty ahead of every other choice, and then bringing someone who is not ethically challenged, because he would need someone as a party's national leader who would not challenge him so much. And so that's the downside of a Nentawe Yilwatda. And then, of course, if it's not someone who can challenge him, then, of course, he will pass on orders to this same individual, and the person would have to just pass it all across. And so, as it stands right now, I can tell you that President Bola Tinubu is fully in charge as the national chairman of the Government of Progressive Congress.
Sambo.
And then, of course, he is also someone who wants someone whose loyalty is not in doubt.
Tell us about the new APC chairman. What do we know about him? What is the difference between him and the former APC chairman in terms of personality, attitude, approach, and how does that account for anything or whatever, you know, in the calculus of the game?
All right, the new chairman of APC is someone who actually fits very well within what will be called the self-enlightened interests of political party stakeholders within the APC. Because he comes from the north central of the country, which has been angling to have that position since the exit of Abdullahi Adamu. Now, if you are seeing the geopolitics of the arrangement of the aftermath of the 2023 presidential election, when President Bola Tinubu won and he was sworn in on May 29, the APC has had a president who is from the southwest of the country, and then, of course, the vice president who is from the northeast of the country, and, of course, Senate president from the south of the country, and then, of course, speaker from the northwest of the country. Now, the idea of having to carry the APC national chairmanship position to give Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who was from the northwest of the country again, made a whole lot of party insiders angry. And so the idea of bringing Yilwatda Nentawe to this position is to balance that equation and ensure that you have someone who comes from the north central of the country and the position has been returned. That agitation has now been nipped. And then, of course, he is also a Christian. When the APC came into power in 2023, we also have a situation whereby the president is a Muslim, the vice president is a Muslim, and then, of course, at some point, the position of president of the Senate almost became taken by a Muslim, that's Senator Abdulaziz Yari. And a whole lot of people were angry within the party that if the president does not step in and stamp his feet on the ground and the position goes to a Muslim from the north, then there will be a problem because the speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, is also a Muslim from the northwest of the country. So the idea was to quickly get an Akpabio, and Akpabio was brought in, and that wedge was there. But when the APC then does go ahead in August 2023 to appoint Abdullahi Ganduje, a Muslim, and then Ajibola Basiru, a Muslim, a whole lot of people were very angry that the APC did not do well to actually remove that Muslim tag that had been placed on it. So President Bola Tinubu, by this action, seems to have gone ahead to correct that. And then, of course, this person that has been brought in fits the age of the youth divide within Nigerian politics. At 56, he's someone who's seen as relatively young, who understands the complexities of the demands of the Nigerian youth to be at the forefront of pursuing politics. And then the president has brought him in. He understands, he worked as a resident electoral commissioner in INEC. And that's the aspect that I want Nigerians to actually scrutinize the governing party for. Because the president has brought in someone who had worked in INEC, understands how the system works, and could use that understanding to the advantage of the governing party. So the CSOs, opposition political parties, should take advantage of this and scrutinize the credentials of the APC governing party chairman and see if indeed he won't bring some ideas that could be detrimental to them ahead of the 2027 general election. And this also questions us as a nation. Shouldn't we have a situation that if someone has served in INEC, there should be a political moratorium for like 5 to 10 years before the person can be allowed to get into government or to get into an elective position like we've seen. Because the person can use that information to the detriment of other political parties, and then it will be an advantage. But in terms of overall calculation, President Bola Tinubu seems to have made a very good choice, considering that he also comes from a state that Bola Tinubu seems to be wanting to win. In Plateau State in 2023, the Labour Party won that state by over 460-something thousand votes.
But unfortunately, our time is up.
And then the APC came second. So he really wants that state by all means.
All right. Wow. Well, so many permutations, so many things to consider. Thank you so much for that very detailed analysis, Sumner Sambo.